What is she doing? Okay, as much as you want to call this woman a hero or brave, guys, don't do what this woman just did. Your life is not worth holding up your local corner shop and helping them out. Holy shit, just do not do what this woman did. That is so dumb. I can be on a pedestal right now and be all like, oh, be a hero, save the world, be a superhero, blah, you Spider-Man. But God, this decision is so stupid. Dude, this is not worth your life. Defending against 100 quid in a cash register. Okay, so this is an example of something that happens online where people get it completely wrong. So it's quite popular. People will say stuff like, on 9/11, why did the passengers on the hijacked plane not fight against the terrorists? Because they outnumbered them and all they had was like crappy knives that they could conceal. So why did they overpower them? The bystander effect. The bystander effect is the idea in someone's mind that someone else will step in and do the good deed before you do, so you don't need to. But the problem is we're all paralyzed with the idea that we're all bystanders, so therefore we've all got this idea that someone's going to step in and help out. That's one factor. The second factor is that they don't have the hindsight of where the planes were going to eventually end up. They don't know that they're going to collide with a Pentagon and Twin Towers and into the ground. They don't know that. So they don't have the hindsight we do. So when we look at this video and we see the act of bravery of this woman, we go, we would have done the same because we know he didn't have a knife. But at that time, she didn't know that. She could have a concealed machete more than we know, but we're working with the information in hindsight. So you can't make judgments about the past of what you were going to do if it's information that's out of date. It happens way too often that this is Reddit does this all over again. Why did no one step in? Why did no one do something? Dude, they didn't have the hindsight. They didn't, like you know right now. You know the future. You've seen into the future and you knew what was going to end up and what was going to happen and the consequences of that. You knew that. But at the time, they didn't know that. So that's the reason why they chose the decision that they made at the time. And it's nice sometimes to say like, oh, Christ, I'd be the hero and step in and help these people and do etc., etc. But the honest truth is, at that very moment in time, you just don't have any fucking clue how it's going to end up. So it's hard to make that split-second judgment. Envision situations we may end up in and try to make decisions. I think we all do that, though, don't we? Everyone's in the shower and likes to think how they would handle a hostile situation. The biggest concern that I find with those situations is concealed weapons. If there is a concealed weapon, you're fucked, aren't you? Because you can't see it. So therefore you can't react to it. And when it appears, it's already too late. This guy who's walking around with a knife, he's already envisioned how quickly he can unconceal it at lightning speed and then jab with it. It's literally half a second from unconcealing it and then stabbing. You can't react within that short time period. So you just almost have to presume there's a weapon there. But you can understand in that split-second judgment, you don't know when they're going to pull a gun out within that half a second and fire 4 bullets. You just don't know. So there's a part of me that understands why they make decisions so quickly, because they understand if the decision was on the other hand, you wouldn't have a lot of time to react, you know? Because that's why they have specific training to deal with those specific scenarios, don't you? So you'd understand why they'd react so quickly and aggressively in those circumstances. Obviously, if you have the specific training for it, there's like tell signs that someone's going to pull out a weapon, like when it escalates, for instance. So therefore, they have more of an ability to react appropriately depending on the circumstance. But an average Joe cop doesn't have like the full range of training in those circumstances, do they? Hence the reason why a lot of time you do see a lot of American police being maybe a little bit too heavy-handed, because I think the range of training they have is limited. And I think that's the problem. I don't think it's an issue of bad, good cops. I think it's a matter of training. That's the solution. Not to go on a tangent about police, but I wanted to reference what it was like to be in those kind of high-pressure situations and you have to react quickly. In the UK, if you're specifically carrying like a taser, you have to have like some extra qualification to have specific training for that weapon you carry with. And I think like I can't speak for every state in America because I know they're all different, but I imagine there are some states in America where if you're carrying a sidearm, you have to have specific extra training to actually yield it. But then I've never seen a police officer in America without a sidearm. I bet they exist, actually. I'm just basing it too much on my own judgment here. I guess the quality of training is a factor as well. Gun training isn't universal all around the world, is it? You can't just say gun training. It's like the same thing for everyone, isn't it? I like to picture things from my own perspective and how I deal with pressure situations. I think I'm okay at them, but the situation where there potentially could be a lethal weapon that could end my life or paralyze me or put me in a wheelchair. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I could make that judgment. I get too panicky. I think I'm being humble about this. I think I'm reacting in a way that I feel like I know what I would do in that circumstance, you know? And I don't think I'd be very good at it. So it's what it is, I guess. We could all be big men and puff our chests and say, oh, we would have done this differently. But you really don't know. You really, really don't know how you're going to react in that high pressure circumstance. You really have no clue. I think that's what scares me a little bit as well. Because I feel like one bad decision there, like, ooh, consequences, man. I'm manic, man. I actually have no idea what it would be like if you actually did the full tactical training and seen what you're capable of. That'd be really interesting to see how much extra you can control yourself in those circumstances. That'd be really, really fascinating to see.